In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to be better at taking bad news at work and how to take bad news like a professional. Let's get into it. Nobody likes bad news. Nobody does ever. But I'll start by saying that bad news ages like milk. It doesn't get better with time. So when it comes to bad news, you really want it to be as timely as possible. I'm going to be going over some strategies that you can use to start being better at taking bad news at work, and these extend to your personal life as well. First important lesson is to not overreact. Depending on the magnitude of the bad news, this could be very challenging for you to not overreact. But if you're in a meeting or somewhere where people can see your nonverbals, you need to really regulate yourself, especially if you are being put on the spot. If you're being put on the spot with some very negative bad news about you, retaining composure will definitely show that you are emotionally intelligent because you're not letting it get a rise in you. So this will let the people around you know that you can take the heat in the fire, and this will help you get further up the technical ranks because many people just kind of crumble when they're put on the spot for things. Do you have a particularly good strategy at being able to take bad news? I would love a comment below because I'm always eager to learn better strategies. If you're doing your job right and you have some emotional and social intelligence, you shouldn't be blindsided by projects having incredibly bad news very frequently. I know when I started paying better attention at work, it's pretty unusual that you'll have proper bad news pop up. Sometimes you're just going to be the first person on your team that receives particularly bad news. It's super important in this critical instance for you to retain your composure, especially if there's people from your group nearby and you happen to be the lead in the room. Retaining your composure, again, will show that you can stand the heat in the fire. And there's a lot of people in these engineering organizations that don't have this skill or emotional intelligence, or suppress it to where they probably will have a Ned Flanders style blow up out in the hallway or when they get out of the office because they aren't managing their emotions very well. When you're dealing with particularly bad news and you're the first to see it, I would say you should probably find some potential solutions to fix the bad news. So what's the problem? Okay, I really think it is of critical importance that you do not go to the people around you, especially your management, with problems. You should go to your management with potential solutions and then empower them by overtly saying, I don't care if you use my solution or not. So you're showing some emotional intelligence, saying you're not going to get butthurt if they don't go with your solution. I've gotten this across by, you could just simply say, hey, here's some solutions. I don't really care if you choose my solution or not. It's up to you. But I've come with a solution to this bad news instead of just being like, well, here you go. Here's a grenade. Lob it over the wall. Have a good time. That's not going to win you any favors or friends. This almost comes back to any media exposure is good exposure. If you can show that, hey, even though this is pretty bad news, but this was broached in a very good way, so the whole team doesn't have, the whole team's not negatively affected by this bad news. If you can curate the message or pivot what's going on, you can deliver pretty bad news in an emotionally calibrated way to where it doesn't bring the whole group down and you can keep moving forward with your objectives. If you can avoid being overly emotional and coming up with solutions to your new problems delivered via the bad news, this will pay dividends in your technical career. If you want to learn more about becoming a social engineer and emotional intelligence, you can check out my emotional intelligence or EQ playlist. Or if you're already an EQ rockstar, you can check out the social intelligence or SQ playlist. Or you can keep getting the results that you've been getting. Up to you.